you. What are
Good
you
morning.
expecting out of these university presidents?
Well, first and foremost, a resignation. We've got one down, two to go. And I think that there's a lot more of these university presidents out there that have had and shared these sentiments that we saw out of Penn, MIT, and Harvard. So it's absolutely unacceptable, absolutely shameful that they couldn't unequivocally state, yes, it violates their student code of conduct, that it is unacceptable to be calling for genocide on campus. And so, like I said, that letter was the first step. I'm really, really excited and proud of our colleagues for taking the next step in investigating how taxpayer funds are going to some of these universities around the country, and they're not covering what is being applied equally across the board with their student code of conduct. I represent the largest Jewish student body in the country. And so for me, this is very personal. Our university president, University of Florida, President Ben Sasse, would never stand for this. He's been unequivocal. That's where everyone needs to be on this issue.
So what happened here at universities? I mean, for the last several years, we've been looking at conservative speakers getting denounced at universities. They were unable to present. They had meetings to present to the student body, and then students went nuts, and the university presidents decided to cancel them. We've seen lots of cancellations in the last few years. They're so interested in our pronouns, he, she, they, and they're not as aggressive on something like this, anti-Semitism. What went wrong?
It's interesting, Maria. I think about this often as the chair of the Campus Free Speech Caucus. When I was an undergrad at Metro State University in Denver, I remember having a Latin American politics professor who tried to not only fail me in my course because I didn't share her political beliefs, but she tried to get me kicked out of the university. That was, 2009. And so this has been going on for many, many years. And now we've gone from having the demand for safe spaces and the misuse of your pronoun being political violence to now it's totally okay to have a call for genocide on campuses. It's really gone full circle. But the thing that I find interesting is that in these universities, they want to champion all things diversity, except for diversity of thought. And if you get called out, all of a sudden, it is unacceptable. There's zero consequences, which is why we have chaos on our campuses. No one has actually stepped up and said, you're wrong for saying that. So I think that we just need to rebalance across the country when it comes to our university campuses.
We've got a new report which is warning that gangs from South America are breaking into multi-million-dollar homes across the country. Police say that they are highly functional, they're well-trained. At least 30 to 40 homes have been robbed in the Detroit area since September alone. Police in Michigan formed a task force because of it. An illegal immigrant under arrest in Texas is now under arrest for murdering a 16-year-old, Lisbeth Medina. The girl's mother discovered her body in the bathtub of her home. Medina was supposed to attend a Christmas parade with her cheerleading team this week, Congresswoman. Story after story that we are hearing. And unfortunately, we are learning that illegals are at the crux of much of this.
Yeah, Maria, you have been such a champion for covering the issue of the border crisis. And so first and foremost, thank you for continuing to keep it in the news and keep it in front of people, because sometimes it feels like it's out of sight, out of mind, except for if you're in a border town or if, unfortunately, your community has been hit by fentanyl or by the crime wave that comes with an open border policy. I know for our district, we have sheriffs who have said, we have bricks of fentanyl with the stamps of cartels, and we have local gangs that basically get subcontracted out by the Mexican cartels. Now, of course, they've been emboldened with Biden's open border policy. So now you're seeing these Central and South American gangs that are just traipsing across the border, where we know across the 9 sectors, it is the easiest thing in the world to get across. All you got to do is pay your $6K and you're in. And so this is presenting exceptionally big issues for all of our communities, not just from a fentanyl standpoint, but from a safety standpoint. There's no consequence. Just like on those university campuses, there's no consequences for the crime that is being perpetuated with the zero cash bail and all the liberal policies that are backed by George Soros. Well, this is all the more reason why next year matter.
The Chinese are working with the Mexican cartels, we understand. I mean, normally these dangerous drug cartels charge $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a head if you're coming from places like Venezuela or Guatemala. But for the Chinese, they're paying up $30,000 to $50,000 a head, I'm told, by the Border Patrol sources. $30,000 to $50,000 a head to get a Chinese national across the border. The House is preparing a vote to formalize the Biden impeachment inquiry this week, partly because of all of this, the border. We have newly released IRS whistleblower testimony, which reveals Special Agent Gary Shapley told lawmakers that he wanted to investigate President Biden for the crimes that Hunter was committing. He says in every situation that they worked to try to pursue Joe Biden, they were not allowed to do it. They were stopped in terms of investigating the president. Hunter Biden cursed out House Republicans on a podcast, claiming that you and your colleagues are targeting him. You want him destroyed, and you want his father's presidency destroyed. What do you want to say to Hunter Biden and others here who say that there's no evidence of corruption right now in the Biden family influence peddling investigation?
Well, Maria, I would tell him, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And in this case, it's an impeachment inquiry. You cannot expect that the American people will sit idly by while they run roughshod over the law, expecting us to follow the letter of the law while they avoid it. So if they have nothing to hide, they should not be fighting this impeachment query. We're going to get to the bottom of this, and accountability is coming.
Yeah, I mean, after all of this, you would think that the Biden family would want to say it's not true. I mean, the other day, President Biden was asked about it. He says it's a bunch of lies. That was his soundbite. I'm not going to comment because it's a bunch of lies.
If he had nothing to hide, he would be completely transparent and open the books. That's the thing that I keep saying, open the books.
Congresswoman, thank you. We'll be watching that. Kat Cammack joining us this morning, and we'll be right back.